Welcome to the Music Nut Program. I'm John. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to the first edition of my new series on the Music Nut Program, Artist Spotlights. Focus of this series will be on independent artists and bands that I discovered playing theaters, as well as opening for bands in larger venues. First act I'm going to talk about today, and I did talk about them briefly on my top 10 albums of 2024, is Bywater Call. Bywater Call are from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. They have three albums that I will go over a little bit today and talk about them as a live act. Who are Bywater Call? Bywater Call are first two albums, same lineup. Megan Parnell on lead vocals, Dave Barnes on guitars, Stephen Dyke on trumpet, Bruce McCarthy on drums, Mike Musel on bass guitar, Julian Nally on tenor and baritone sax, Alan Zamatis on keyboards. By the time we get to the third album, which is Shepherd, Alan Zamatis leaves the band and we get John Curvin on keyboards. Here is their discography. They have three studio albums, their self-titled debut from 2019. This is on Gypsy Soul Records. Their second album is also on Gypsy Soul Records, and this was the album they were promoting when I went to see them the first time. This is Remain from 2022, as I indicated. And their third album they released independently in 2024 on their own Bywater Call Records, which is Shepherd. Shepherd was my sixth favorite album of 2024. If you'd like to hear me talk about this album as well as my other top 10, I will put a link in the description for that show. Now, Bywater Call is Southern rock meets soul. There is elements of jazz in here, little bits of acoustic work on here as well, like some swamp rock. But R&B, Southern rock, that's the foundation. A lot of focus on Megan Parnell's wonderful vocals. There's more focus on the horns than the guitars. I say they sound like Tedeschi Trucks Band, but Tedeschi, there's probably more of a focus on Derek Trucks' guitar, in my opinion. Although the horns are very prominent, here the horns are more up front. But Dave Barnes' guitar work becomes more prominent as the albums go on. And he is a very strong guitar player, as is all the other musicians in this band. Dave, he plays the perfect solo for each song. Now, we go over the three albums. This is the self-titled debut. This is a pretty good album. I think every album improved. They got tighter. They became better songwriters, more hooks as time went on. They became more of themselves. The first three songs on here are probably the most hard-hitting, most driving tracks on here. They are Arizona, which is a nice opener. Forgive is very cool. The horn lines on this are excellent. Got a great chorus on here. Talking Backwards is in that same vein. That's also a very good track. Bring Me Down is a 7-minute emotional ballad. There's a lot of focus on Megan on this, and this is a very cool song. We got a short guitar solo here from Dave, and it's very slow, and it's perfect for the song. Nightmare is very good. Over and Over is also good. But what happens here is I think a lot of the songs, after it starts out very driving, it kind of stays in that mid-tempo groove more often than not. Hometown, though, is a wonderful ballad. Megan shines like the sun on this, and the horn lines are wonderful. Silver Lining is one of the stronger tracks on here. We actually have a keyboard solo on this. This is very well written, probably one of the strongest tracks on here. Walk On By and Swing Low are both really good songs to end the album. Again, we're more into that mid-tempo groove. Swing Low picks up the pace a little bit. Overall, this album I think is pretty good. My favorite tracks on here: Arizona, Forgive, Hometown, and Silver Lining. they're definitely all keepers. But the album's good. This is their self-titled debut. Now, if we go into the second album, I think they're really finding their sound. There's a little more grit here. There's more guitars here on Remain from 2022. Falls Away has this killer groove on here. You're getting to hear that awesome rhythm section on here. It's a very strong opener. Love Her Down Slow. We're going more into that mid-tempo R&B that works very well. Remain is slower. There's great focus on Megan on here. And this is a cool song. I think the end I will remain when they say that over and over. It works better live because then you really hear Megan's vocals shine like the sun. I don't know if it works quite as well on record, but it's still a good track. Let Me Be Wrong is a really cool R&B track. Very classy with the horn lines and the keyboards on here. Left Behind, great track. Very strong. Great vocals on here. Great chorus. We have great horn lines as well. See We Swim, we're getting more back into that groove again. You're really hearing that rhythm section really swing. Very good. Fortune is another strong track. This is R&B, more mid-tempo R&B again, but there's more hooks here than you had on the first album. I really appreciate that. Go Alone kicks ass. Go Alone reminds you of more modern day, like 90s, 2000s Allman Brothers band. Got a kick-ass guitar solo on here. What a lot of passion, a driving beat provided throughout that song. It really rocks. But the horns are there for color, but they're bringing a lot to the song. Excellent. Locked is another strong track. Works very well. Bring It Back. It's the anthem of the song. It's short, around 2 minutes, 10 seconds. You're already hearing the fade out. But it's a cool way to end the album. And I thought they really improved on this one as far as the songwriting went. It was certainly a tighter album as well. Remain. Very good. And this is great. I love Shepherd. This album kicks. When I saw them the second time in 2024, they played most of the songs off this album. And I was like smiling. I'm like, wow, they're really getting some hooks on here. Everybody knows this killer. We got great call and response in here we got nice harmonies on here. We got backing vocals, and they're doing the call and response with Megan on the vocals here. Very strong. Colors. We're going more mid-tempo R&B, but this is a better written song than I think those songs were on the first two albums. Sweet Maria is great. Great horn lines here. Very classy, very memorable. What a chorus. Memorable, simple, very effective. Excellent. Great call and response between the vocals and the guitar at times in the choruses as well. Very strong. Holler is very, very good. That one starts out more of a swamp feel with the acoustic guitars, and then the electric guitars kick in, and it turns into a monster as it goes on. Very strong performance by the band. Excellent track. For All We Know, another strong track, very memorable. Roll, we're going a little more 60s R&B on here. Nice feel on here with those piano lines. Sounds very, very good. Turn It Around has a great chorus on it. It's more upbeat, works very well, as does Now and Never. Another strong track. As If, and I talked about this on my favorite albums of 2024. This is hard funk like James Brown and the JBs or Sly and the Family Stone. I mean, this kills it. The horn lines on here are excellent. Great interplay here on this song. And a lot of the songs on here, we have a great interplay between the horns and guitars. Sign of Peace has a New Orleans feel, which I mentioned on the 2024 show, more in line with what's on the debut. And that debut has more of a New Orleans feel than I think the other two albums do. But this is just a better written song. It ends very, very well. It has more of a gospel feel at the end. Excellent, excellent track. I think this is a kick-ass album. Very well recorded too. The first two albums are recorded well. I thought the horns were a little too up in a mix on Remain. Here, everything is in its right place. You can really hear the clarity between the instruments. The band is just getting tighter and tighter. It's a shorter album. Megan sounds fantastic. I highly recommend if you wish to get into this band, start with Shepherd. They're all good, but Shepherd, I mean, they are really coming into their own. This is a great record. I highly recommend this. Definitely go check them out live if they play near your area. They are a powerhouse live band. They will play around 1 hour and 45 minutes, mostly originals. They do throw in Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. Sometimes they'll put it in as part of a medley with their original songs. It works very well with a horn section. But they don't that's like the extent of their covers. They focus on originals. There's a lot of there's a lot of independent bands that will throw in a few covers here and there. They are confident in their songwriting that they believe it could carry the day, and it certainly does. They don't have to do Kashmir. That's how strong their songs are. And again, they really improved in the songwriting department from albums 1 to 2 to 3. So, what do you think of Bywater Call? Have you heard of them? And if you have, what are your favorite songs by them? Have you seen them live? Again, if you've not seen them live, check them out. They are an excellent live unit and have the songs to match. Megan comes out. Both times I saw them, Megan comes out and she will meet the fans and she'll sign your CDs or t-shirts or whatnot. But I bought all three of these at the shows, as I indicated. I really, really dig this band. Highly recommend them. So I will continue to do shows like this on independent artists or bands about once a month or so, because this is the music I listen to more than anything else these days. I do take a look in the past, but I don't like to ever take a step back. I do know a lot of those bands I've known from the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. I know a lot of that stuff by heart. I mean, it's very off the cuff. I'm really into Bywater Call. There's a lot of other bands I'm going to talk about with the same kind of sound, similar sound, including the woman who is standing behind me. I will definitely be talking about Anna Popovic in the future. So, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the show. Do what you love, and I'll talk to you soon.